Welcome to the Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community Podcast. I'm your host, Patrice Tsague. I am here today with a wonderful guest couple. It's not two individuals, wonderful guests. I tell you, you are on for a treat. Matteo, Onori, and Brooke Joyner, they're the founders of an amazing kingdom company that's in the making right now called Back2Business. And we're going to kind of share with them how this began, what this is, and where it is heading. They're currently in our program. They're in the business mastery program and going through biblical entrepreneurship, group coaching, individual coaching, and getting this going. So this is probably the first time this public on social media and our community get the chance to really hear, because you've not began to do any social media promotion yet, have you?
No, just
wow.
So this is a big
you're here for the very first time. What a privilege. First of all, thank you for choosing us to do your grand announcement of this amazing business that God has enabled you to put together. So let me say this, and this is no flattery. You guys are probably one of my favorite clients because, and let me tell you why, selfishly, as a business coach, you love clients that do the assignments, right? You just love it. You love A players, clients that would have made it with or without you, but you get the privilege to work alongside them. And that's kind of what you guys are. So thank you so much, guys, for choosing us. And thank you for allowing us to work alongside you. So, but let's get into it. The husband and wife team. And we even get into the dynamics of what it means to run a business as a couple. As you guys know on our podcast, one of the things that my wife and I specialize in is working with husbands and wives. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
All right. This is one of many because we're going to follow your journey as we look at different stages of transition so that others who are on that startup phase or discovery phase can glean from you as well. So this is both an education opportunity as well as for us to promote what you're doing. So let's go back to the beginning. Well, actually, we're going to look at the beginning. Give a sense to our audience, Brooke, what exactly is Back2Business and what you guys are aiming to accomplish. And we're going to take them back to the beginning. What is Back2Business and what exactly are you trying to accomplish?
So Back2Business is a small business directory that aims to help small businesses to grow and to help consumers be able to shop according to their core values. So the heart is really to serve communities and people who care about their values as they go about, the various economic activities in their life.
Awesome. So a couple of things small business directory. It's about tying it to values, and it's about tying it to local consumer. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So what give me a comparison. What's another type of business that as an audience, I'm listening and watching this, I'm saying, okay, it's like Back2Business light. Give me another company that may be like.
It's like Yelp, but it is exclusively for small businesses with 30 employees or less. And it does exclude franchises. And the second differentiator compared to something like Yelp is the core values, whether that be religious beliefs, political beliefs, attributes of the company in terms of how it's run, product attributes of the products and services offered. All of those are included under the umbrella of core values that we're including.
I love it. So small business, 30 employees or less, and then it could ensures core values. And then you also mentioned it being local. And what's unique about this 30 employees or less? What's significant about that particular number?
When we were looking at how to serve small businesses and the challenges that they face, a lot of times they struggle with their marketing. They struggle to get in front of their ideal clients. because they're sort of crowded out of the space with large ad budgets, SEOs, which can be quite costly, as well as just navigating how to get in front of clients without the budget to support, some master strategy or the ad spend. And so we said, who has that problem? And it really are these small companies. The mom and pop shops, the artisans who are creating and delivering amazing products or really specialized services, but they don't have a marketing staff. Maybe they don't have any staff. But we really believe that the best products and services out there are these people who are specializing in these things whose specialty is not marketing. And so we wanted to give them a place to get out there.
I love it. I love it. Matteo, what's the significance of the name Back to Business? What does that mean?
The idea came, it's a double meaning, because on one end is B2B, so business to business.
Ooh, that's clever.
And the full name is Back to Business because we wanted to give the idea of promoting business, on the old traditional way, in the sense of getting out there and increase the relationship between the consumer and the business, and be a place where a business can be done in a new way, which is, for us, it's the old way of doing business, of going to the having basically going back and spend the time having a relationship with the business and the consumer. So that's,
I love it.
What is going back to business stands for.
I love it. There's another third meaning that I'm not sure you intend this. You think about what COVID did to our economy, right? Especially in America and around the world, actually. And you think about the fact that it hurt a lot of local retailers other than restaurants, right? And in a sense, are you almost suggesting that we go back to business here, guys, beyond COVID?
Yes.
That was a huge part of it too, of, it's time to get back to doing business. Exactly. And, one really sort of moving thought that we had shared early on was, what if this directory existed before COVID?
Wow.
The impact that could have had, because if those small businesses had the reach that we're hoping to give them, maybe they wouldn't have had to shut down as much. Maybe there would have been some businesses saved, because with those relationships in place, it could have had an impact. So that's definitely an element as well.
Yes, because the idea also was born right after the COVID-19. So we were working on the idea during that time. So that was also a big contribution to that.
I love it. Let's go to the beginning, because there are people watching and listening to us. They're saying, how do you even get to this place where you're so clear? You guys, based on the way we at Nehemiah Project look at business life cycle, you guys would consider a startup, right? Pre-revenue, pre-break-even business. Let's go back to discovery. I'm sure there was a moment where you both felt like, you know what, business is something we want to consider. Take us to that moment and why you thought business is something you should be doing as a couple.
Can I? Yeah. We work corporate job. It's a small corporation we work for, but we're subjected to corporate laws and authority and all of that in the business. And after COVID, we were forced with a choice of getting a vaccination or leave the company. And we didn't want to be forced to make a decision at that moment. So we were faced with a very important decision to make.
And we work for the same company.
We work together.
So it was an all or nothing problem.
Deal.
Exactly.
So it was a really hard time. Definitely a wilderness experience.
It was a very hard time. Exactly. And so as you can imagine, it was stressful for the family, stressful for us. But during that time, we kind of realized if we wanted to keep doing that, be subjected to that, or get started with our own business and our own ideas. And at that moment, we decided that we didn't want to, to be stuck in that situation anymore. We want to be, we want to take on our future. We want to make our decision. We wanted to, build something of our own that it doesn't, fit with other people's schedule, other people's rules and decision. We want to have something that's ours, that we have full control over, and also that we can really help people and businesses out there, especially, that's where this desire really come in, to really provide a tool to help the small businesses in the local economy. To
I love it. I love it. So, because many businesses got created or conceived, right, during the COVID area because of that. In my one of my books, Biblical Entrepreneurship Essentials, I talk about what leads to entrepreneurship. Some are pushed into it, some are forced into it, right? Some are born thinking that's what. In your case, there was a legal requirement, or at least a requirement by your employers to have to, have a vaccine that you didn't, your conviction would not align with it. And so entrepreneurship became your path to having freedom over
exactly.
what you would do it or not do. So,
Exactly. And during that time, then God really just put the idea in Matteo's head in just
wow.
a Sunday morning, right? I mean, it was
Correct.
just like we say, downloaded it, and it was
Downloaded a plan, and
the
that's
whole
how it
plan.
felt.
I mean, it
Yes.
wasn't.
So I have a question. That's interesting. So because when people are in the discovery phase, sometimes they're convicted to do a business, but not sure what they should do. And then days or weeks or months later, or sometimes years later, an idea came. So give us a bit. So between the time you felt like business is the option, the path for us for freedom, to where you have the idea, what was that time frame like?
Was
It was
probably
pretty short.
was pretty short, no
Wow.
more than a month. I would say
Wow.
a
A
few
few weeks,
weeks.
because
Okay.
we essentially took a hardline position on the issue um, in late August.
Hmm.
And by the 10th of September, it was like,
Wow.
it was
So
very,
for,
like, very closely
for
connected.
so for those watching, listening, they hear this. You say, God downloaded an idea in Matteo's heart. Tell us a bit. How do I recognize it? So I'm watching this. I'm saying, wow, God has never downloaded anything to me.
Uh-huh.
So how does somebody watching and listening say, I want that kind of, I want to download? So how do they recognize this download?
That's true.
And how did you get there? That's
So
a
how
great
did I get
question.
there? I woke up in the morning, and I was just thinking, as I was in the shower, and I was just thinking, what am I gonna do next? Because we were faced with this decision, and I was just going through my mind with different things, and exploring different option. And I can't remember how that happened. What I thought is, because at that moment Brooke was always also working on a side business that she has, and I was thinking, how can I help businesses like hers, that they don't have budget, they're small, they're trying to get out there. And that's where when this idea just came to me, was given to me. And to be honest, along with a lot of other like details, like in a very short period of time, like in 5 minutes, I had the total plan, the total idea, and everything pretty clear to my head, which that it's not something that usually happens to me very often.
Wow.
I'm very normal guy, so um,
So you're not the typical guy to have a fire a fire bush experience. That's not usually you.
exactly, totally. And at that, as I got this idea, I was even doubting myself. It's like, oh, should I even talk to Brooke about this, or it's just a silly idea? I mean, it's like, what if it's just nothing? But I couldn't just keep it to myself, which usually that's,
Wow.
like I go through this process of maybe, it's nothing, just
Yeah.
let it go. But
Typically, this is where it falls apart, right? The husband or the wife get this idea, and then they turn around, talk to their mate about it, and they pour water, hot water, cold water on top of it, and there's a discouragement. So when you first told Brooke, how did Brooke respond?
she was very excited, but I,
Yeah.
which is
Well,
also unusual sometimes.
that's
I
true.
wasn't sure. It's like, what do you think? Is this crazy, or is this can work? Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you think it's possible? And
Well, and I think we should also include that, the wrestling with that decision of to refuse or not on the job requirement was like a 4 to 5 month wilderness
Mm,
journey. And
mm,
so as we reached the end of that, and we were saying, okay, we're gonna put our foot down, we're gonna say no. We were really going up the mountain, ready to sacrifice the job that
mm,
God had really provided for us just two and a
mm,
half years earlier.
mm.
Um, really, I mean, I always view that as like our Abraham thing. It's like going up, ready to
To
sacrifice
mine.
the
Yeah,
promised thing.
that was your Isaac.
Yeah,
yes, that's correct.
yeah. And so as we, journeyed through that, a lot of prayer, a lot of looking for guidance. And so when he approached with this idea, I immediately somehow recognized, I was like, this is it. This is
Wow.
the ram in the bush. you know,
Wow.
the mercy and the grace and the deliverance. And I immediately saw the potential, just the way he sort of cast the vision right away.
I love it. One of the things I draw from this is one, you both were in prayer. Two, you both were being obedient to your heart conviction. There was a sense of obedience there. And three, Matteo, what as the Lord spoke to you about this, there was this compelling need. There was almost this burden you had for small businesses because you saw your wife and what she was trying to do, and that kind of that created this essence. 'Cause I always say, whatever idea you have, it has to be meeting a need. So there was this problem that subconsciously your system began to try to address, and then that led the Lord now to kind of give you this idea to address it.
Exactly.
And because you both were on the same page, it kind of solidified it. So let's now go forward. Again, I'm talking to Matteo, Onori, and Brooke Joyner, the co-founder of an amazing new company that's about to be launched in the next, what, 3 to 4 weeks, 2 weeks, week? How long?
Yes, soft launch May 1st.
May 1st, the next couple
So
of weeks.
really getting started. Yeah.
Amen. Go back to big business, which is really a value-based local business directory for small businesses with employees under 30, excluding franchises. That would really allow you as a company to reach the consumers in your market and for you as a consumer to shop based upon your values. So this idea is conceived. Now you got to know what to do. Talk to us a bit about how you went from that to where you are now.
Well,
You want to take this?
yeah, again, God really provided. He really provides everything. Because of our corporate position, I had the opportunity to work with a mentor previously, who that mentor now is in the tech startup space. And so I was able to call on her to get some early feedback. And so from the time that he got the idea downloaded into his head, because it really was God, just 0% us, between that and the day that we were able to pitch this, an incubator and an accelerator, it was about 10 days. And so in those 10 days, we tried to learn very quickly what a pitch deck is, put the deck together, do the market research, all the things, just to be able to present, a feasible idea of what we're thinking. And by the grace of God, they were really positive. So that really confirmed for us that this isn't in our heads, this is real, and we should move forward.
Wow. Wow. I love it. And so what I like about it is that so you sought out external help, a mentor, And that's important, right? Because you could be hearing from God, but you also could be missing it. One of the things we teach in biblical entrepreneurship is this idea of having these what we call assumption pillars, right? Your kind of intuitive instinct, right? External research, the experience, the history, the business model. You kind of went through that process without even knowing you were going through it as you
Exactly.
start to validate the idea.
Yes.
So tell us a bit, and then we're going to get now into how those watching or listening can be a part of this. So, what lessons have you learned? If you think back at your journey, you said, here are lessons that we've learned that others who are watching or listening, if they are along the journey, whether they are pre-discovery, discovery, or in the starter phase, that you think will be valuable for the entrepreneurs to consider as that you've learned along this journey.
You go first.
Sure. I'd say first thing, don't shut yourself down. The first thing, because it's easy to just get dowdy and think it's nothing, or it's a silly idea or no worth proceeding. Just allow yourself to think that there's a reason why, especially if you're in a walk of faith. You're walking in your faith, and you have you're passionate about your faith, and you're in a good place in your journey. Just trust that God is providing for you, and just don't let yourself doubt. And then if you think you're missing on some things that you just go and get some, go get help. If you need somebody who validates your idea, or somebody to share. For me, it was easy because my wife is also my partner, my best friend, my we share a lot in common, obviously. But if for somebody who doesn't have that, I would suggest that as the second step.
I love it. What would you add to that, Brooke?
I would say always increasing in holiness is always the best idea. So pray more. We're Catholic. Go to Mass more. Receive the sacraments more. Go to church more. And really, purifying yourself in that way, that can then give you the confidence that what you're hearing and what you're receiving from God is really from God. So the formation of conscience to be prepared to receive. That I think is really important. And then after you're at that point, then you can really open yourself up to whatever God is sending your way. And I would say once He starts, pouring out the blessings, be willing to accept them, and just remember that God can use anything He wants. When we came to the Nehemiah project, the process of discerning, should we, proceed with this program, there was a 3-day process where I really had to accept that God could use something like this to bring the vision to life. Because we had come as far as we could on our own, and we needed help, and this could be it. So being open to what God chooses to use is so important. And the third piece I would say is just remember that God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called.
Wow, what great insight. As a matter of fact, you talked about the role Nehemiah Price played in your journey. How helpful has that been? You guys made a major investment into this program, and you guys have already done a lot beforehand. And we saw how smart your wife was last week, Matteo, as she wowed an entire class. So it's not like you didn't have abilities yourself. How helpful has this journey been?
I think we're very grateful for the Nehemiah project. You guys have helped us a lot, and keep on track and provide us with the support. Amazing staff, yourself, and all the people at the project. They really helped us. They were available, and they are just a breath of fresh air. And I love the calls with you, especially opening and closing in prayers. Just let the spirit be a big part of our cause and of our coaching and our teaching, and that's the big difference for me. And I think that helps Brooke too. I know she has a lot of talents. That's true. But I think everybody could use help, and the Nehemiah project was just perfect for us. I couldn't imagine better help for us. We needed, and the way we came across you guys was also. Uh, I think divine in a sense, because we didn't know where to look for, but we were able to find you guys, and ever since it's been a blessing for us, and we're very happy.
Wow, anything you want to add to that, Brooke?
Yeah, I would say, because as we were he got the idea, the next 5 days and then the weeks and months that followed, we were hashing out, not only the business idea and the future developments and all, functionality of the website, those details, but also how we want to run the company, how we want to treat the people, how we want to structure the organization, the policies we want to have. And so I was so amazed that after we got involved with Nehemiah Project, that's all written down. It's called Biblical Entrepreneurship. So this way, I feel like taking what we already had, the desire and the ideas and the experience we have, and it's, concretely been already fully developed, so we can lean into that education and use that as a guide rather than having to just always be producing, all this stuff. That was just really amazing how similar it was with the approach that we were wanting to pursue. And then the coaching, I don't know where else you can pray with your coach all the time. Any other services we have had from Nehemiah, we pray with all of them. I mean, you cannot find service providers that will want to pray with you. It's amazing. That's been such a blessing. And we really see how God uses the Nehemiah Project for all that we're doing. So.
One thing you mentioned for our listening viewers, you talked about your intentionality about your faith, and you said we're Catholics. Some people listening, watching, they'll say, whoa, Catholics who are actually very intentional about faith and work and integration. Could you speak a little bit to that? Because the perception sometimes is that those in the Catholic faith would not be as inclined, even though that's not always true, because, there's a lot of Catholic contribution to faith work integration, particularly in the social service area. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I would say for us, we're traditional Catholics. We go to the Latin Mass. We go to diocesan Latin Mass, for those wondering. And for us, I'm a convert to the Catholic faith. I was raised Lutheran, and the reason I converted was because I was able to recognize that our Lord Jesus is present in the Eucharist, body, blood, soul, and divinity. And as soon as I was able to recognize that, I said I need to do whatever it takes to be able to receive our Lord as often as possible. And that conversion experience is why I then went on to meet my husband, because I followed in the footsteps of my patron saint, Mother Teresa, to Calcutta. And ever since then, it's just been guiding everything. Life is easier with the sacraments. That's just true. And for us, building a business that is totally in line with those traditional values, and that allows us to live out, really serving people. It is an immense blessing. Our Lord on the cross said, I thirst. And that is, St. Teresa of Calcutta says, that he's thirsting for love of people and for souls. And so, meeting people and serving people where they are, and doing it in a way that we can also live ourselves and then have a kingdom impact with the prophets. I cannot even believe that it's even possible, but it is just totally in line with living a life as holy as the graces were given, and it's really fulfilling. So, do you want to?
Wow. Anything you want to add to that, Matteo?
I I think she said it all basically. It's been I know sometimes people think as Catholic and maybe like rigid, but we really think that this business is a way that we can really express the love of God for the better for the unity of His people and for allow to Him to do the work He wants to do. So we're very happy. We hope to touch as many people as possible, help as many businesses, because that's our first goal is to really make it easier, make it better. That's what we want to do, and along the way, do God's will and help Him with some project if possible.
Oh, that is incredible. As we land this plane, let's talk about how those watching and listening can be involved. So, you have kind of two major opportunities. Let's first talk to the entrepreneurs who are watching and listening. I'm watching and listening to them. I'm saying, wow, I'm excited about this. A platform that is faith integrated that allows me. And by the way, you're not just limited to Christian. When you talk about values, it's
Right.
even broader than Christian. So talk to them about who is this to and how can I get involved?
Yeah, so we do have a broad spectrum of values represented, because another sort of core belief involved here is the idea of freedom. We believe that people should be able to do business with people that they want to, and so we're not excluding any set of values. And so yeah, there are a spectrum of faiths, there is a spectrum of political views, there's a spectrum of company attributes. So it's not just faith-based. We do think that faith-based, those that care about their, what they believe in are going to be most interested, but we by no means are excluding a broad spectrum of beliefs.
So I want to be involved. What's my action steps? What's the next what I should do if I want to be involved?
So you should go to our website. You should click register and create your listing. So right now our listings are free until we can prove that the concept works. We expect that to be August or September of this year, but of course we'll know when we have the proof of concept. After we can prove the concept, it will be a monthly billing of $30. So it's a very affordable price point even after we monetize. So go ahead and create your free listing. Share with your friends and family so that they can become, get listed as business owners, and spread the word so that those that are listed can see results with consumers visiting.
Awesome. So if you're watching or listening to this and you want to get involved, you want to be among the first to be involved. She just said free. Go to Get Back to Business, number 2, getback2business.com. And there you can create your listing and you can get started on this journey of being a part of this new exciting opportunity. So I'm a consumer. I don't have a business and I'm watching and listening. I says, wow, I want to shop based on my values. What's my call to action?
So for that, again, you would visit the website, you would start searching listings, which now there are very few. So keep checking back with the website.
Mm-hmm.
Follow our social medias. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we are on Twitter as well. Little following there. And check back often. The other thing you can do as a consumer is share our social medias as well. Again, check back off and stay engaged, because as the amount of listings grow, our goal is that consumers would be able to do all of their retail, professional service, home services, all of those business needs, finding them through our platform. So a real one-stop, location.
I love it. Guys, congratulations. We look forward to having you guys back to give us routine update as this new business gets launched and developed to serve our communities with an S, around those things that they care most about, which is their values of shopping local and really helping small businesses. So before we leave, though, I do want you guys to give one more advice to our viewers and listeners. Before we do, listen, if you want to know more about Matteo and Brooke and their company. Go to their website, get back to number two business.com. Get back to number two business.com. There you can learn about it. You can set a free listing of your business, or you can also begin to search to begin to see what business are involved so you can do business with them. If you enjoy this podcast and you want to, we encourage you to share with other people, right? Our friends share good things with other friends. Put it on social, share it with others, particularly as you know others who may have businesses who you think, hey, this may be a great platform to be a part of so that you can promote your business. Or you may just want to hear a story of a couple who went from being stuck to discerning the will of God and to being obedient to taking a risk. And God revealed an idea to them that now they're bringing it to pass. So it could be just an encouragement story about for other entrepreneurs to be inspired by their own journey or other wannabe entrepreneur. Please share this broadcast with others. You can subscribe, of course, to our various social media platforms so you can get this story and other stories like that as we keep going along the way. Now, don't leave yet because I got one more question for Matteo and Brooke that would give you some great insights along about their journey. If you want to know more about the Nehemiah Project, how we can come alongside you and provide you with coaching, training, and access to capital, visit our website, nehemiahecommunity.com, nehemiahecommunity.com. There you learn about our various training products that can come alongside helping you no matter what stage of business you are in, about coaching options, as well as access to capital option if you desire to grow your business using Kingdom Capital. You can also be a part of our e-community where we can transform the world together. Guys, one last question for you. So you are a married couple, and one of the challenges of being a business is also when we are doing business as a couple. What's been the key to making it work for the both of you? What's one advice you can give to our listeners? Anyone else can start first, but I want to hear from both of you guys. What's that advice you can give couples out there who are saying, we're trying it, it's not working? What advice can you give us? Oh, we don't want to do it at all because it's a nightmare.
I'd say for us, or for me, I can say I don't know if that's true for Brooke or not, but make sure we make sure you leave time for your personal relationship. So like only because you spend 8 hours with your wife working doesn't mean you spend the whole day with her. So remember that, make sure you take the time to to prepare nice things, to take care of the kids together, do some fun with the family. Make sure you leave personal time, faith time, personal time that's separate from work, because it's very easy that to take up your whole day, your whole life, and you don't want that. You want to be separate. And I mean, of course, you always sharing things, especially if something exciting. It I think it's positive, but it's easy to say, oh, we spent all day together, but only talking about work. So make sure you leave the extra time to spend time with your spouse, with your kids, and leave it separate, and dedicate. Work time is work time. Family time is family time. Just don't get sucked in too much.
Matteo, where were you when I first began my journey? I didn't hear that advice because I just assume we're together all the time. So what's the point of the extra time? Right. Thank you. Good advice. Brooke, what would you say?
I would say a good piece of advice is to know your strengths and the strengths of your spouse, and then sort of also stay in your lane, so to speak. So don't step on each other's toes. If one is doing the accounting, the other one should not,
Step in.
try to make an invoice, or if one is in sales, the other should probably not. This is coming from our previous experience where we also work together. But stay in your lane, and also always, I do think too that the respect of colleagues can, as long as it's always being respected, because that can also benefit the marriage outside of work as well. Because I think people are always pretty nice to people at work. And sometimes we can maybe not be so loving to our family after a long day of work. So the respect of colleagues, I think it also sets a higher standard outside, as long as that's like withheld, and then applied to the family as well.
Wow. And these two, I've watched them do exactly what they're saying there. They mutually honor each other. They deal with conflict in such a way that's both healthy and proactive. Thank you guys for modeling. Would you guys come back from time to time and just give us updates as to how you're doing?
Good.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you for
love
having
it.
me, Patrice.
Thank you again, Matteo, Omari, and Brooke joined the founders and of Get Back to Business. I'm sorry, Back to Business with the website getbacktobusiness.com. Visit them and begin the journey along with them. Listen, I hope you enjoy our podcast. And before you leave, I do want to pray for you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord enable you to steward those talents that are under your care and to steward them in such a way that one day you can hear those wonderful words as Matteo and Brooke would hear. Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. He'll now make you rule over much. God bless you. Thank you for watching and listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrice.